Hi, everybody. I am a multi-genre independent author. One pen name, TR Sloth, is for all things dark, gory, and depressing, and the Margot Primrose is for all things romantic and swoon-worthy. Two pen names, two websites, two Instagrams, one YouTube channel, because here we're going to talk about anything and everything affecting the book community. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about multi-genre writing. I myself am a multi-genre author, and I chose the path of having two separate pen names. Now, not everybody does that, and we're going to talk about it, okay? Obvious, I have something in my eye. We're going to start over. So, why would someone choose not to have two different pen names if they're writing in two different genres, and why would someone choose to have two different pen names? Well, I think the first most obvious reason would be that having two pen names is kind of a pain in the ass. I'm going to re-say that because I don't think I can say ass. Because that means you have to have two Instagrams, two TikToks, two everything, two emails, two websites. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot to take on, especially for indie authors who are doing literally everything themselves. Now, why would someone maybe want to have two pen names? Well, I can only speak for myself personally, but I know a lot of other authors who do this. It's because of marketing. Now, I write in horror and I write in romance. Paranormal romance, demonic horror, these are two very different things. Okay. I also do contemporary romance and fantasy horror. Fantasy horror. I don't want someone picking up a TR Sloth book expecting demons and beasts just eating people alive and find out that it's about two people falling in love while they run a cupcake stand. They would be very disappointed. I don't want my readers to be disappointed in my books. I want my readers to know exactly what they're getting when they pick up a book by T.R. Sloth or Margot Primrose. I don't want someone picking up a romance book and finding out that it's about monsters eating people alive. That's just not nice. Nobody wants that. Now, you can argue that the reader should be able to look at the back cover, read the synopsis, and figure it out for themselves. Yes, that's true. But guess what? I found out after publishing a couple books, a lot of people don't read the synopsis. I don't get it. I always read a synopsis. Actually, no, that's not true. I don't always read a synopsis. Sometimes I look at the cover and I go, yes, I want that one. Now, leading into that, you should say, well, the covers should be different. A romance cover should not look anything like a horror cover. You're right. They don't. My horror covers are very different from my romance covers, so you're completely right about that. But why do I want to make it any harder for my readers to distinguish which book is which? And the other thing, too, is I don't want my readers who sign up for my horror newsletter to be getting romance updates. They don't want that. Maybe some of them do, but not all of them. Not everyone who reads horror also reads romance, and vice versa. There's a lot of people who multi genre read, but there's a lot of people who don't. And so I think having them separate, especially in my case, because the two genres I write in are so different, I think it's really helpful for marketing and it makes it easier on my readers. It's hard enough getting discovered as an independent author without muddying the waters. And muddying the waters, I mean, I have books all over the place. Like it's hard enough as it is having my demonic possession horror books and my fantasy horror books out at the same time and trying to figure out how to market those. Because sometimes I'll go up to somebody, I'm like, hey, I have a horror book. And they're like, I don't read fantasy. And that's the end of the conversation. And I'm like, okay. So I think a lot of people do it for ease. They do it for ease. And sometimes when people do multi genre writing, they don't do it in such extreme polarities like I do, which is also fine. I mean, if you want to write chick lit and contemporary and also do some fantasy, okay. I personally don't think it's the best option, but that's my opinion, and I'm not the divine ruler of the book world. People can make their own decisions, and people have to make their own decisions at the end of the day. You have to decide what's right for you and your business. And make no mistake, being an author is a business. Okay? If you're publishing books with the intent of becoming an author and viewing this as a career, you have to treat it as a business. And so I think people need to think about that. If you're an aspiring author and you want to write in more than one genre, that's fine. Do it. I know I needed a break from writing constant brutality and desperation day after day. It was getting to be too much for me. That's why I started writing romance. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with breaking up the monotony and giving yourself a mental break from what you're writing. I think that can be very, very helpful, and it can be a really great exercise in growing your craft because you're trying something new and you're pushing boundaries that you haven't pushed for yourself before. The first time I wrote a romance, I was like, okay, how do I finish this story without everyone dying? Because I haven't done that before. So that was fun. So a lot of people multi-genre write, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to increase revenue and have more readers and reach more people. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're trying to be a full-time author. I would actually really encourage people to do that if they're trying to be a full-time author. But whether or not you do it under the same pen name, that's gonna have to be a judgment call. And in that same vein, a lot of authors don't use pen names. I immediately used a pen name. I never even considered using my legal name because I wanted privacy, I wanted anonymity, and also there is another famous author who has my legal name. That would be confusing. So I started out my career with a pen name, and so 4 years later, when I decided I wanted to do a different genre, I was able to just make a second pen name. I didn't have to worry about creating a pen name when my other genre was in my legal name because I never had that situation. So, if you are trying to make this decision for yourself, just think about it because if you publish through Amazon or Barnes and Noble, you're going to have your legal name for your account. So you'll have to have one account with each pen name listed. So that will be the same account. But then you also will need to consider making your separate Instagrams, your separate websites, and that might be daunting, but after they're initially built, there's not a lot of maintenance that you need to do unless you're coming up with a new book. Instagrams and the social medias, those can be a lot to keep up with when you only have one pen name. So adding another one, that can be really daunting of a task to consider. That's part of the reason I started my YouTube channel because let's be honest, social media doesn't sell as many books as people would like to think it does sometimes. Now, if you have thousands and thousands of followers, yeah, you're going to sell books on social media. But for the vast majority of people, social media is just a tertiary way of trying to reach readers. And you usually end up just reaching other authors and editors, which honestly is great. I've met some amazing people on my social medias, but that's not where I sell my books. Okay. So you need to really consider it and try to figure out what you think is best for you as an author. Now, if you're a reader, I'm kind of curious to see what you think about this because there are some readers that have auto by authors. Would you have an auto by author if they wrote in multiple genres that were very different from each other? Like, I know Allie Hazelwood, she writes contemporary romance. That's what she was known for. And then she came out with a paranormal romance. Those are different subgenres. They're not completely different genres. So the people who read Allie Hazelwood were more than happy to pick up her paranormal. And people who only read paranormal were more than happy to test the waters with her writing. But would you have an auto by author if they were in two totally different genres, such as horror and romance? I'm really curious to know what the readers think because I'm kind of inclined to think they wouldn't, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let me know. I want to hear from you. And if you are a multi genre author who writes under the same pen name, I'm kind of curious how your experiences with this have been going. Thank you for watching. And remember, if you want to see more of this content, to subscribe and please hit the bell button so you will get notified every time I upload a new video.